Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله الأمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to this new episode of Ask Huda, where I'll try my level best to answer your questions, those that I have answers for. Before we take your phone calls, there are a number of emails that I have received, and among them is a question from Subia. And she asks that she would like to know the case where a Muslim can live in a non-Muslim country, and when must they migrate to a Muslim country, and if it's okay for a Muslim to stay in a non-Muslim country to provide for his family or to get work experience and or nationality afterwards, then move later on. First of all, as long as a person is capable of showing and practicing his Islam, then he does not have to migrate, because migration is one of three. Either it's mandatory, and this is in the case that you cannot practice your Islam, you're forced to, that you're oppressed in not showing your Islam, and you're capable of leaving. So migration is mandatory for you here. The second part is it's not mandatory and it's not obligatory, and this is in the case of women, children, elderly, poor, who do not have the means to travel. So Allah Azza wa Jal does not obligate this upon them. The third is highly recommended, and this is when a person is able to show his religion, but at the same time he can travel. So he has both conditions fulfilled. He can travel and he is also able to practice his religion. Then traveling can be recommended. Migrating can be recommended. Depends on his situation, because if he's benefiting the people of the country by showing his religion, supporting them, making them a united front in the face of kufr by showing their religion and teaching it and preaching it, then staying is better. If not, traveling is better. And taking the nationality of a particular country, a non-Muslim country, this is not permissible unless in very limited situations, when someone is oppressed, and if he goes back to any country, he would be abducted, arrested, for any reason that is life-threatening, then he can assume or take that country's nationality, non-Muslim country, because a Muslim cannot give his allegiance to a non-Muslim country and support that country. Muna sent a question about Zakat al-Fitr. She says, can it be given in cash? The answer is no. Can we give it to the local mosque from where they will distribute it before the prayer of Eid? The answer is yes, because you're authorizing someone who you trust, and they will send it or give it to the needy on time, which is before Eid prayer. Is it must to be given as items which will be used for cooking on Eid day? No, you have to give it out in the form of food. The Prophet ﷺ instructed that we give out Zakat al-Fitr sa', which is equivalent to 2.25 to 2.5 kilograms of rice, of what people usually eat: rice, grain, dates, corn, whatever the people eat in that country. It is permissible for you to give one sa' of these items, but you cannot give cooking oil, you cannot give utensils or furniture. This is not permissible. Giving it cash, the majority of scholars say that this is not permissible, because there was cash at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, yet he directed them to give their Zakat al-Fitr in the form of food. The third question, Zuniria, she says that a new revert Muslim sister who accepted Islam and did not tell her parents, yesterday she was forced to eat, and she could not evade it, and she had to eat, so she broke her fast. Today, alhamdulillah, she told her parents about her Islam. She's asking about yesterday. does she have to make up for that day? And the answer is yes. Because such a force, being forced to eat, was not at gunpoint. Meaning that if she just said, I'm not going to eat. They didn't know about her Islam, so they're not going to whip her or kill her or torture her. So in this case, she ate voluntarily, and therefore she has to make up for that day. The fourth question is from Nawab. In Ramadan, while fasting, is it permissible to ask my mother the food she's preparing for iftar? Yes, you can always call your mom, though iftar is about 5 hours ago, later, and you ask her, Mom, can you cook me some meat or some rice, this particular food? And he's asking, is there any problem in requesting and being happy for a certain dish that my mom cooks well and I love it? Nothing is wrong in that. There's nothing goes against your fasting, or it lessens the reward at all. This is completely permissible. Some of us may call his wife and say, listen, for today's iftar, I'd like you to prepare this and that, please, because I feel like having it. So this is okay, and there's nothing wrong in that. Question number 5, Verilisi is asking about saying, La ilaha illa subhanaka inni kuntu min al-zalimin. Oh Allah, you are the most merciful. Please show me the Prophet ﷺ in my dreams tonight. Is this permissible? Yes, it's permissible. You can ask Allah Azza wa Jal to show you the Prophet ﷺ in your dream, and there's nothing wrong in that. Question number 7, can I donate and give charity to non-Muslims, and will I get kebab? Kebab is a meal, so I don't know what kebab has to do with donation and giving charity to non-Muslims. Maybe she meant thawab, which is reward. So you have to be careful when you supplicate to Allah, oh Allah Azza wa Jal, grant me some kebab, instead of saying, oh Allah, grant me some thawab. So this is a different word altogether. So do I get charity? Do I get reward? Do I get thawab when I give charity to a non-Muslim? The answer is yes. If he's needy and you're giving him charity, not zakat. Zakat is not permissible. You give him charity because he's needy. There is a reward in that for you. Muhammad from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
How are you?
I'm fine, Jazakallah khair.
I have 2 questions, Sheikh. The first one is that last year one of my cousins was in need, and I gave him a loan, Saudi Riyal, somewhere around 10,000. Now he's in my country. Now he'll be paying me back the amount that he took it last year, like in rupees.
Okay.
So now when I compare the 10,000 what I gave, the currency has gone down compared to the Riyal. So what should I do in that case?
What did you give him? What did you give him?
That in my country, there's a mosque. In that mosque, they have a ziyarah separate inside the boundary, but the ziyarah is separated. Am I allowed to go and pray in that mosque? Because most of our brothers, they don't go and pray in that mosque.
Where is the grave? Is it at the back?
One particular ziyarah, they call it as a awliya.
Yes, is the grave in the back of the masjid?
It is. They have a big graveyard, but they have put a parapet wall and it's separated. But this particular ziyarah is just near the mosque. But it is not inside the mosque, but it's outside, but it's in the boundary.
Does it have a wall separating it, a tall wall?
Yeah, they have. No, there's a building, separate building for that.
So it's a different place than the masjid?
Yeah, but it's inside the boundary of the masjid.
Okay.
Where we used to park. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Sister Iman from Bahrain.
Oh?
Sister Iman?
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum salam.
I have 2 questions.
Okay.
I was a non-Muslim before, and now I'm Muslim, and I got it to a Muslim man. And in future, if I have children, and I have to go to my parents' place, they are non-Muslims, can I take them? And how can I protect them from not, if my parents force them, if they love their grandchildren, so if they try to tell him what their religion is, how should I protect my child? And
Okay.
is it permissible that I can go to my parents' place?
Okay.
And my second question is, in some countries we don't, women are not allowed to go to masjid for prayer. So how do we perform our Eid prayer? Should we do at home, or we should just thank Allah for the great day?
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. I will answer your question, inshallah. Rihan from Fayhan from Saudi. Okay, I think we lost Fayhan. Fayhan?
Yes, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sheikh, I have a question. I'm from India. I work in Jeddah.
Okay.
And I just want to know whether the zakat is permissible. I have to give zakat on the property which I own in India. I have 2 houses in India. So I have to do, any zakat is applicable on that or not?
Is it for sale or it's on rent?
No, not on rent.
Is it for sale? Are you going to sell
I
it?
just bought these houses because whenever I'm going back to India, I want to stay in that house.
So it's not for investment, for selling and buying, selling and buying?
No.
Okay,
it's not for that.
okay. I will answer your question. Amin from Dubai. Brother Amin from Dubai.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salam to Allah.
I have 4 questions today.
Okay, inshallah.
First question is, if we pray Taraweeh, is it not then necessary to pray Qiyam al-Layl?
Okay. Second question.
As men, we are required to pray Fard prayers in the mosque, in congregation.
Okay.
Are Taraweeh and Qiyam al-Layl prayer Fard or Sunnah?
Okay. Third question.
And can they be prayed at home?
Okay. Third question.
Question is there any significance to dreaming about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam or Angel Gabriel? I had a similar experience last night.
Okay. Any more questions?
And the fourth question is, it's okay, that's all, Sheikh.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Okay, Muhammad, Hassan from Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Yes, Hassan. Brother Hassan. Okay, I think we've lost Brother Hassan. Muhammad, first question. She gave 10,000 riyals to a relative in India, let's say, and now it's time to pay back, but the rupee is different, so it's far less. So what to do now? First of all, regardless whether the other currency has gone up or down, what is most important for you to know is, what did you give to your relative? So for example, if my relative calls me from Morocco and says, I need this much amount of money, if I give it to him in riyals, he should return it in riyals. If I go to the bank and exchange it into dirhams, and I transfer the money in dirhams, he should return it in dirhams, regardless whether the riyal went up or down, or the dirham went up or down. That is why you have to go back in time and see, did you give that person 10,000 riyals in cash while he was here? Then he has to return it in riyals. If you transferred to him the amount in rupees, then this is what he had received. He has to give it to you back in rupees, regardless whether it went up or down. As for the masjid where the grave is, the question is not very clear, because she says there is a separate building, and then she says it is within the boundaries of the masjid. We have to look. If the grave was first there and then they built a masjid over it, it is forbidden for you to pray in that masjid, and that masjid has to be demolished. The Prophet ﷺ cursed the Jews and the Christians for taking and assuming the graves of their prophets as prayer places. But if the masjid was there and then the grave was introduced to it, we have to see whether it is in the Qibla or not. If it's not in the Qibla, if it's in the back, and if it's, like she says, in a building or in a room, then I would not personally pray in such a masjid. But is the prayer valid? The prayer scholars say it's valid, because you're not praying to the shrine itself, to the grave, you're praying up front. And if the building is separate completely and outside, so sometimes you find a masjid and a graveyard. So if there is a separation between the two with a high wall that people cannot see the graveyard from the masjid, then this is permissible to pray, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Abdullah from Saudi Arabia.
Yes, assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah.
I just want to ask one few questions, because I just saw some in a TV station. Is this allowed, asking forgiveness by means of singing, but without music? Is this allowed in Sharia?
Can you elaborate? What do you mean by asking forgiveness?
Asking forgiveness, there's some channel I saw. They are asking forgiveness by poetry.
Okay.
With some intonation, but no lyrics.
Okay.
No
music.
Instrument.
Okay. I will ask.
Is this allowed?
Any more questions?
Yes, and also it is also in the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In the whole month of Ramadan, they are making itikaf.
Who is?
No, because I saw some channel in the whole month from 1st of Ramadan until the end, they are making itikaf in the masjid.
Okay.
And they are singing like this. They are asking forgiveness to Allah like this, like a song. So I'm just, have a confusion.
Okay, I will answer the question, inshallah.
Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much.
Fatima from Saudi Arabia. Sister Fatima?
Yeah.
Yes, what's your question, sister?
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
I have 3 questions.
Okay.
The first one is about the monthly menstrual cycle, monthly menstruation.
Okay.
I don't know if it's just me or other sisters are facing the same difficulty, but I would like to know how one should calculate that after the menstruation. I would like to know how one should establish her prayers, since determining the exact time that the bleeding stopped is quite tricky. So I would like to know how one should determine, how to either start praying or repeat the prayers or something like that.
Okay. Second question.
Okay. The second question is about the Zakat al-Fitr. I would like to know if it is permissible to ask someone to do the zakat on behalf of someone.
So you authorize someone, you give him the money and say, give the zakat before Eid in such country or such neighborhood?
Exactly, yes.
Okay. Third question?
Okay. The third question is about Salah. I heard that it is mandatory to recite from the higher level of the Quran to the lower, and not vice versa. So I want to know if it's authentic.
Okay. Any more questions?
Okay. No, that's all.
Okay, I will answer your question, inshallah.
Okay, thank you.
Hamza from Saudi Arabia. I think we're just getting questions rather than answering them. So let's assume that Hamza is the last one, inshallah.
السلام عليكم شيخ.
سلام ورحمة الله.
أحبك في الله.
أحبك الله الذي أحببتني فيه.
So I have 2 questions. One question is that in the Taraweeh and in the prayer, sometimes the Imam recites some ayah like الَّذِي لَهُ مُلْكُ السَّمَاوَاتِ or about Allah or His Majesty, and some people they raise the right hand index finger. Is it from the Sunnah?
Okay.
And they raise between the 2 sajdas also. Is it raising the finger between the 2 sajdas? Is it from Sunnah?
Okay.
And one more question. Hello?
Yes, I'm with you.
Yeah, when we say that, when the hadith mentions that the shaitan is locked, it means that all of the shaitan, jinn I mean, all of them are locked, or the one within us or during the wudu, are they locked too, or just the major ones?
Okay, I will answer your question, Hamza. Jazakallah. So we have like 7 minutes before the break. Let's see if we can raise from 0 to 100 in answering these questions properly, inshallah. Iman from Bahrain was asking about taking the children to their non-Muslim grandparents. This is permissible. Visiting your parents who are non-Muslim in Ura River, definitely this is permissible and it is highly recommended. The issue is, the trick is that if they have negative influence on the children or on you as well. So if they're trying to preach you out of your Islam, then this is a problem. Allah tells us in the Quran that you have to obey them, you have to respect them, and even if they fight to get you out, they go out of their way to get you out of Islam, the fold of Islam, you should not obey them, but you should have good companionship with them. So even if my parents are always bombarding me and telling me to reject Islam, Allah tells us, be good to them, but don't obey them in what they say about Islam and about reverting back or converting back to their false religion. So yes, go ahead and take your children. Try to immune your children. Try to talk to your parents nicely that your husband does not allow this and he may stop them from visiting you if he knew. So please don't do this. Other than that, you have to go and be kind and nice to your parents. And inshallah, this you would be rewarded for. If they do not stop and you fear that your children will be affected negatively, then don't take your children, but you have to keep good ties with them as well. She's saying that in her country, they don't allow women to pray in the masjid, and this is awkward. The Prophet ﷺ allowed the women to pray in his masjid, and he said, do not prevent women from attending the prayer in the masjid. How can people be more Roman than the Romans themselves? Astaghfirullah wa tubu ilayh. How can they be claiming to be more Muslim than the Prophet ﷺ? This is unacceptable. But if this happens, we have to try to change the community and the society. For Eid, it is not recommended to be prayed in the masjid. The Prophet ﷺ, during his 9 years, or that is, during his 10 years in Medina, never prayed the Eid prayer in his masjid, though a prayer in it is equivalent to 1,000 elsewhere, other than Mecca. Yet, he used to take them to the open area, to the musalla of the Eid, an open area in the desert, no buildings around them, and they used to establish the prayer there. So this is the sunnah. You have to look in your city and you will find people, alhamdulillah, following the sunnah, the Quran and sunnah, and you will find them praying in such open areas. Join them. Fayhan from Saudi Arabia, he's saying that I have 2 houses in my country. Do I have to pay zakat? And I've bought them recently so that I can move and live in it. There is no zakat in it at all. Amin from Dubai, he is saying that if I pray Taraweeh, must I pray Tahajjud? The answer, you don't have to pray Taraweeh and you don't have to pray Tahajjud. It's not a must. It's highly recommended, but it is not mandatory. It is not fard. So this answers your second question. Are Taraweeh and Qiyamul Layl or Tahajjud fard or sunnah? It is sunnah. Number 3, I saw the Prophet ﷺ and Jibreel, peace be upon him, yes, last night. Is there any significance? There isn't any significance that we know of, first of all. Second of all, your dream of the Prophet ﷺ can be of shaitan, meaning that shaitan can impersonate the Prophet ﷺ and comes to you in a dream. But the Prophet said that whoever sees me in a dream he has seen me, because shaitan cannot impersonate me. So how do we combine between the two? It's very simple. Scholars say, whoever sees the Prophet ﷺ in his dream, exactly as the description of the Prophet ﷺ, then he had seen the Prophet ﷺ. But still, there is no significance, no reward. It's a glad tiding. It's something that one feels happy about. Meaning, if I see in my dream last night that the Prophet ﷺ was 5'1", then I did not see the Prophet. If I saw the Prophet ﷺ was black, then I did not see the Prophet. If I saw the Prophet in my dream, he was like 7'4" and full of muscles, and in a way that was not described to us how the Prophet looked, alayhi salatu wasalam. He was not tall, and he was not short, he was in between. He was white in color, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. His hair was this and that. His eyes were so big. His fingers were like this and like that. If I saw the description, then yes. But if someone tells me, I saw light, and they told me that this was the Prophet, this is not the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Abdullah, she's asking that there is a channel And most likely this is a Sufi channel, because she says that since the beginning of Ramadan, they're offering i'tikaf in the masjid, and all that what they do is they do chanting and nasheed, asking Allah for forgiveness without music. Well, this is not the doing of the Salaf. And the Prophet ﷺ, he offered the i'tikaf 20 nights or 20 days only to make up for a year that he did not make i'tikaf in. But he did not make i'tikaf for the whole month. The norm was 10 days, the last 10 nights of Ramadan. So this is another innovation to have it all that long, because it was not done by the Prophet ﷺ. Asking Allah istighfar, asking Allah's forgiveness by chanting and dancing and going right and left, this is wrong. Some brothers also, when they read the Quran in the masjid, we see them doing this, or some go up in front like the Jews. No, this is not permissible. When you read the Quran, when you recite the Quran, you have to be still and contemplate and ponder upon the Quran. So I believe that what you're watching is wrong. But generally speaking, if there is a nasheed by an artist asking Allah for forgiveness, no musical instruments, no daf, and I listen to it and it softens the heart once every blue moon, this is permissible, inshallah. Fatima, she's asking that long question about her period. How can we know that a woman is purified from her period? Two ways. One, either by seeing the complete dryness, no discharged brownish or yellowish, or by getting a discharge that is a white thread-like. So you get a discharge that there's a white, clear, white discharge. It's like a thread. And you do not have to go and check every 5 minutes. Some sisters go to the bathroom every 5 minutes to check, is she pure or not? No. Scholars say that you go on, and from time to time, when you answer the call of nature or when it's time for prayer, you have something to go, then you check. And what was previously taken place, you ignore. So if someone, for example, did not check at 5 o'clock and went at 8 o'clock and found her purity, then her purity was realized at 8 o'clock. The 3 hours are forgiven, because it's not logical, it's not un-Islamic to keep on constantly checking. I know that the answer should be a little bit longer, but I have to know the case in detail, so that an answer can be in details. Can I authorize someone to give zakat al-fitr on my behalf? Yes. If I'm living in Saudi and my family are in India, I call my brother and he will pay that on my behalf. I heard that the order of the Quran is wrong. If I recite Surah 112 in the first rak'ah, and then I recite Surah number 70, because I'm going from down to up. Is this wrong? No, it's completely permissible. It was the doing of the Prophet ﷺ when he recited once in night prayer, as the companion says, Al-Baqarah, which is chapter 2, then An-Nisa, which is chapter 4, then Al-Imran, which is chapter 3, in the same rak'ah. So the Prophet did not observe the order which we have now. So alhamdulillah, as long as you are reciting from different surahs, this is permissible. Not recommended because people will not understand, but for your own, it's okay. And what's not permissible is that for you to recite the end of Surah Al-Baqarah in rak'ah number 1, and then go to Ayat al-Kursi in rak'ah number 2. The majority forbid this. We have a short break. Stay tuned, and inshallah we'll be right back.
There is an American sister who's very active in Dawah in Egypt, told me personally that she traveled between Buddhism and Christianity and different sects, and when she came to read the Quran, she started by reading from right to left, Surah Al-Fatiha. She said, I swear, once I finished it, I fainted. I could not believe myself that there is such book that people were so negligent and ignorant about. That has to be the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And she said, I accepted Islam simply after reading Surah Al-Fatiha and knowing
the first chapter, 7 verses.
7 verses.
The Arabic itself, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke the Quran. So this is by itself is a medicine.
It is the word of Allah.
It's a word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It goes into the heart.
It was not created, rather put it out.
May your Ramadan nights be blessed with welfare and forgiveness. Ramadan. Ramadan, Ramadan.
You can't do that because you do not know what to say to them sometimes. At least you raise up your hand and ask Allah, oh Allah, please give guidance to this brother of mine, the importance of following Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. To follow our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam means you must understand his sunnah. Adinu Yusrun, Islam is a very easy religion, simple religion. So don't make religion difficult to yourself. I believe this hadith is very common to all of us. But the beauty part of this hadith, number one, it started by Umar al-Khattab saying, Sami'tu. Now again, I'd like to share with the brother and sister to understand the beauty of this saying of the companion.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. I believe we have Fatima on the line from Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Yes, I have 3 questions on zakat.
Okay.
The first question is, I have stock shares whose price has gone down now.
Okay.
How do I calculate zakat on those?
Okay.
My second question is, my friend in India has kept jewelry mortgaged in a bank.
Okay.
Because of her necessity, she had her son to go to a college. Now, there was no one to give her a loan, and she understands that taking interest is haram. But since she had no way, she had to keep her jewelry in the bank. Now, the bank gives her 70% value of the jewelry. And she has to repay this amount plus the interest to get back the jewelry.
Okay.
Okay. Now, she wants to know, in such a case, does she have to pay zakat on that jewelry? And in case she has to pay zakat on that mortgage jewelry, on what amount should she pay? Should she pay on the 70% of the amount that the bank gives her,
okay,
or on the total amount of the jewelry?
Okay. Third question?
Okay, and my third question is, Sheikh, when calculating zakat on jewelry, do we take the resale value of the gold for calculation, or we take it as new gold?
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
That's it, Sheikh.
Inshallah.
Thanks a lot.
And Barzan from Iraq? Barzan from Iraq?
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
My brother called, but I'm asking a question on his behalf, if that's okay.
No, definitely. Yes, what can I do for you?
We have a question. It's about tuition fees. We live in the UK.
Okay.
We've got 3 students currently in university, and we have to pay, like, for 2 of us, it is £4,000 a year.
Okay.
And my dad paid for this, so that was fine. We didn't have to borrow money from the government to pay for our university. But now my sister's going to uni, and the government's charging like around £8,000 a year for tuition fees. And my dad can't afford to pay that much for all of us a year. So the government can lend us money for tuition fees, but there's like 1.1 interest on it a year when we pay it back.
Okay.
So the thing is, we don't have to pay that money back unless you earn £25,000 when you graduate and you're working. If you don't earn that much, you don't have to pay the money back. And after 25 years, it cancels out the whole loan if you can't afford to pay it back.
Okay.
So we were just wondering if it's okay if my sister can apply for that tuition fee to be paid for her.
Okay. I will answer your question, inshallah.
Is the question clear, Sheikh?
Yeah, I know. I've been asked this question 150 times. Don't worry. I'll answer it, inshallah.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I hope you can answer this.
Inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Khadija from Saudi. Khadija.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
Sheikh, I have a question.
Okay.
When we are going for the salah, and if we want to prolong our sujood, and we make it up before the imam goes to the next sujood, is it permissible?
So you don't get a chance to sit with the imam, right?
No, I do get the chance to sit with the imam, but I try to make it up but I prolong my sujood for a little longer than what the imam generally announces for.
Okay. Any other question?
And the second one,
yes.
If we are doing our witr prayer, can I make my dua in the sujood, or is it mandatory that I stand and I make the dua?
On your own or with the imam?
No, with the imam. When the imam makes dua,
In qunut, okay.
Is it okay if I, instead of standing and raising my hands, I get into the sujood and I continue with the imam's dua?
No, okay. Okay. I will answer your question.
Jazakallah.
Exactly. Okay, we start with Hamza. Hamza is asking that some people, and I've noticed this myself, when they are in the prayer, and for example, the Imam says, رَبَّنَا لَا تُؤَخِذْنَا إِن نَسِينَا وَأَخْطَأْنَا, and they say like this, so رَبَّنَا, as if whenever Allah is praised, Allahu alladhi la ilaha illahu, they do this, moving the index finger. Is this permissible? This is an innovation. This is not permissible. And he's asking about moving the index finger, not when doing tashahhud, but between the two prostrations. So when I raise my head from the first prostration and I sit down and I say, Rabbi ighfirli warhamni wa'afini wajburni. So some people move their index finger. Is this permissible? The majority of scholars say that this is not. Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen, may Allah have mercy on his soul, thought, and he came to the conclusion that moving the index finger between the two prostration is part of the general hadith of Wa'il ibn Hujr, where it indicates that the Prophet used to move his index finger when he's sitting. And the most of the hadiths indicated that while he's sitting for the tashahhud. But the Shaykh said that the hadith is general, so he thought that it is permissible to use, to move it. So it's up to the individual. I personally recommend you do not move it. If you move it, this is permissible. An imam, a scholar of Islam, has said that this is part of his understanding to the sunnah. So it is, alhamdulillah, accepted. Hamza, second question is the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that when Ramadan is due, the devils are chained. And the hadith specifically stated that they are the masters and the leaders, and the strongest among the devils will be chained. They will be locked up. But this does not mean that the youngsters and the normal devils would also be restrained. No, they are loose. They can do whatever they want in deceiving people, in tempting people. However, their evil is far less than other months of other than Ramadan. Allah Azza wa Jal is making them weaker, so not all of them are chained, only the masses and the great ones of them, and their effect over the Muslims. The evil, the masters and the leaders of the devils are chained from affecting the Muslims, but they're not chained from affecting non-Muslims. And that is why in the famous hadith, where though it's not that authentic, where we know that in the battle of Badr, the pagans, the idol worshippers, they saw an old man coming, and he was invoking them, he was provoking them, he was trying to encourage them to fight the Muslims. And when they met, he ran away, and that was the shaitan. We know that the battle of Badr was in Ramadan. So how was it that he was there? Scholars say that maybe this was in the beginning, because this was in the second year of Hijrah, and the hadith of chaining the masters and leaders of the devils probably was later on. Or because this was tempting and provoking the pagans and idol worshippers. So his effect was not on the Muslims, but rather than on the disbelievers, and Allah Azza wa Jalla knows best. Fatima, she's saying that she has shares in the stock market and they plunged. So how should she pay the zakat? She should pay the zakat on today's price. If she bought them for 1,000 and today it's only 100, she gives the zakat on the 100 only. She says that a friend of hers has her gold mortgage with the bank, and for that mortgage she is receiving 70% of its price as a loan. And once she gives the 70% plus the interest, which is haram, which is riba definitely, they will give her her money back. She asks, does she have to pay zakat for that mortgaged gold? Answer is yes, because it's still hers, and she has to pay the zakat for the full amount, not on the 70%. She says, the zakat of the gold we have, do we estimate the selling value or the purchasing value? No, the selling value. So if you have 100 grams, you take it to the goldsmith and you want to sell it, he says, I'll give you XYZ for that. You take that amount, XYZ, and multiply it by 2.5%, and this is your zakat. Barzan from the UK, apparently, or she's calling from Iraq, I don't know. She's asking about the student loan. And this is specifically in the UK. And she says that's about 8,000. To my knowledge, it's 9,000 pounds. People cannot afford to go to the university, so the government gives them a loan of 9,000 pounds per year, which means that they have like 36,000 quid for the 4 entire years if they manage to finish in 4 years. And that the contract is that you pay interest to the government, 1.1% or something like that, providing that your income is over 20,000 pounds when you work, or 25,000 pounds. And if it's less, you don't pay this interest. And after 25 years, the government exempts you from that loan. Khalas, you're gone. There's no need to pay their interest. So she's asking, is this permissible? The answer is no. Any contract you sign with the intention of deceit or with the permission to do something that is a major sin like interest and riba, this is forbidden. First of all, the children are studying in the university. When they graduate, they'll get offers, maybe less than 20,000 a year. But 3-4 years later on, they'll be promoted and they will get good jobs. What to do? The only way to evade this forbidden money, forbidden interest from being paid is to lie to the government and to lie in your income tax. So you say, no, I'm getting less, I'm jobless, you have a contract, a forged contract that you're not working, or you're working with 10,000 pounds a year, and you're going to live your life in this sort of deceit. This is haram. A Muslim does not lie, and a Muslim does not charge or pay interest. The question is, okay, in this case, the children will not go to the university, so be it. It is in Allah's hands that you get your provisions. It is Allah who provides for you and give you rizq. Don't think about the future. Don't think about what am I going to do later on? How am I going to get married? How am I going to get a house, a car, etc.? If you keep on thinking like this, you will eventually and inevitably go to haram. Believe in Allah Azza wa Jal, trust Allah, and try to have halal resources. So if you contact your family, listen, lend us the money, we'll give it to you long term, over 20 years time, maybe, Allah knows, but we are trying to avoid haram. You will find someone. And wherever there's a will, there's a way, as long as you trust in Allah Azza wa Jal. But having this loan, it is forbidden, because you're signing on a contract saying that, yes, if I finish my school and I work and my income is more than 20,000, I allow you to chop off my foot. Would anybody sign such a contract? No, chopping off your foot. I'm not that stupid. Well, riba is far worse than that, and Allah knows best. Khadija, who is our last caller, she's saying that, can I prolong my sujood with the imam even after he raises his head between the two prostrations? I'm still in my sujood just to supplicate, and just before he goes for the sujood, I say Allahu Akbar and I sit down, and the answer is no. Whenever the imam says Allahu Akbar, you have to follow him. You cannot prolong your ruku', your sujood, anything. You have to follow the imam step by step. Because if you delay, then you're sinful. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, that we must do as the imam, what the imam does. If he bows, you should bow. If he says Sami Allahu liman hamdah, you should say Rabbana wa lakal hamd. If he prostrates, you should prostrate. You should not delay at all. The second question was a little bit awkward for me. She's saying that when the imam is doing, and everyone else is standing and saying Allahumma hdina fi man hadayt, in the dua of the qunut of al-witr, she says, can I prostrate while the imam is supplicating and do my own dua while prostrating? This is not acceptable at all. And if you do this, your prayer is invalid. Because you have to follow your imam. How can the imam be standing up and supplicating and you are prostrating? This is unacceptable. If you want to make dua while in prostration, wait until he finishes and prostrates, and then you can make dua as much as you wish and can. But you should not do this while he is in standing position or in bowing position. You are differing with him, and whenever you differ with your imam, your prayer is invalid. Rauf from Yemen.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Sorry, Sheikh, this might be a very repeated question, but I want to get clear question.
No problem.
Clear answer. About the gold zakah,
Yes.
I got more than 85 grams, and I'm a housewife, and I got those golds from a gift from my husband and from my father. And I'm not using it to sell for bad time or anything like that. I'm using it as jewelry. And is that has to be zakah or no?
Okay,
please?
I will answer the question, inshallah. And
Jazakallah.
Jazak. We have, who's the second caller? Arij? Sister Arij.
Yes.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I'm going to Makkah on 27th Ramadan.
Okay.
I want to know spots or places in the Haram Sharif Makkah which particularly are known for acceptance of dua.
Okay. I will answer the question, inshallah.
My second question is,
Okay.
there is a semicircle structure near the Kaaba and I see people praying inside it. What is the significance? Also, people pray close to the Kaaba. I want to know about that. My third question is, name of Allah, Bismillah, Ayat, etc. are found written on paper, greeting cards, etc. What do we do with them? Can we cut them into small pieces and throw it in the dustbin?
Okay. I will answer your question, my daughter, inshallah.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Jazakallah al-khair.
Wa jazaki habibti. Amin. Fatima from Nigeria. Sister Fatima.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Sheikh, I have just one question.
Okay.
The question is, during Salat, during Farida or Nafila Salah, the Surah Al-Fatiha, I used to recite it.
Okay.
Or at times, maybe you join the congregational prayer late, and the Imam has recited the Surah Al-Fatiha. Will you recite it on your own again while he's reciting the other Surah or any other Surah?
Second question.
No, that is the only question I have.
Okay. I will answer your question, inshallah. Shabana from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Sheikh, I've got a question to ask. Are men allowed to wear a watch in white gold?
Okay.
And my second question is that with regards to following the Imam, when you're following the Imam behind him in prayer, can you read Surah Fatiha and after that you keep quiet, or are you supposed to keep quiet throughout and not do any recitation on your own?
Okay.
Jazakallah.
Wa jazak. Okay. Rauf's question was that the ruling on ornaments on gold and silver jewelry that a woman wears every now and then, and she has no income, and it's over 85 grams of gold. So does she have to pay zakat for that? And the answer is, it's an issue of dispute among scholars. The three schools of thought, the school of Imam Malik, Shafi'i, and Ahmad bin Hanbal, say that there is no zakat. Only Imam Abu Hanifa says that it is mandatory. And with the three schools of thought, Imam Ibn Taymiyyah, Imam Ibn Qayyim, they all say that there is no zakat. So Abu Hanifa says, may Allah have mercy on his soul, there is zakat in such jewelry. And so does Sheikh bin Baz and Ibn Uthaymeen. May Allah have mercy on all of their souls. And when you cross-examine these two opinions over the Quran and the Sunnah, you would realize that the most authentic opinion of these, because everything scholars differ and we cannot choose and pick. We have to follow what goes with the Quran and Sunnah. They might have done a mistake, they might have thought otherwise, they might have not received and learned about the evidences we have. So the most authentic opinion after studying this issue is that the gold and silver, whether worn by a woman or kept in her drawers, she has to give zakat, which is 2.5% over that. And Arij is asking, what are the places and locations in the Haram where, if I go to Mecca, to the holy shrine of the Haram of the Kaaba, what are the places that Allah would answer our supplication most in? And the answer is the whole place. We know that the Prophet ﷺ, while going around the Kaaba, he used to make dua. We know that during his sa'i, he used to make dua, but specifically when he went on the mount of Safa or Marwa. He used to face the Kaaba, he used to say the famous known supplication, La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, etc. And then he would make dua. So on these two mounts, Safa and Marwa, when you are going through them, when you go up, you make dua. This is the time that is and the place that is accepted. Some say that between the Al-Hajar Al-Aswad and the door of the Kaaba, this is a place of answering the supplications, and this is known as Al-Multazam. There isn't any authentic hadith that the Prophet ﷺ recommended this, but some of the companions used to hang there and used to supplicate to Allah Azza wa Jal. Nowadays it's next to impossible. And with the wrong acts that being committed next to the Hajar al-Aswad, the black stone, and that Al-Multazam area, it is definitely a sin to go there rather than a form of worship. So anywhere in the Haram, when you are drinking Zamzam, this is an occasion and this is a time for answering your prayer. So the Prophet says, Ma'u Zamzam lima shuriba lah. And he said that Zamzam is for whatever one drinks it for. So if you drink it for paying off your debt, Allah would do this, inshallah. If you drink it for paying, for curing an illness you have, Allah would do this. And if you supplicate to Allah and drink it, Allah Azza wa Jal would answer your call. She's asking about what's known as Hijr Ismail, which is the ark that people do not go inside, but rather go round it and round the Kaaba itself. So she's saying that there are people praying there. Why are they praying there? This area is part of the Kaaba. And the Kaaba is not this black structure. Rather, it is also this ark next to it. But when it was demolished at the time of the Prophet ﷺ or before that, and they wanted to rebuild the Kaaba due to flood waters, they insisted that they would not build the Kaaba except with halal money. And the money they had was sufficient to build this area which we know now as Kaaba. And these are also part of the foundation of the Kaaba, and that is why if someone makes tawaf, he goes around the Kaaba and enters in between, his tawaf is invalid because he has to go around the Kaaba, and this person went through the Kaaba. So whoever prays in that small area, he is considered to be praying inside the Kaaba. So if someone makes an oath, a pledge, by Allah, if this happens, I will pray in the Kaaba. And he goes to the authorities, say, please open the door, I'd like to enter and pray in the Kaaba. Say, go, get out of here. So what to do to fulfill his pledge? We say, pray in that area, which is close to the Kaaba and within the boundaries of the ark outside of it. She's also asking about the name of Allah Azza wa Jal in cards and newspapers, in papers that we have. What can we do with them? You should either burn them, bury them, or if you can shred them into very, very tiny small pieces so that you cannot recognize the letters, then this is okay. Fatima and Shabana share the same question, which is, if I'm praying behind an imam, do I have to pray the Fatiha, recite the Fatiha, or is it sufficient that the imam has recited it? It's an issue of dispute. The most authentic opinion is that it is recommended, but it is not mandatory in the loud rak'ahs. So if the imam is praying the Fajr, it's not mandatory for me to recite it because his recitation is enough for me. But it's recommended if I can squeeze it in. When he prays the 2 first rak'ahs of Maghrib and the 2 first rak'ahs of Isha, it's not mandatory. But in Dhuhr, in Asr, in the last rak'ah of Maghrib and the last 2 rak'ahs of Isha, it is a pillar that I recite the Fatiha because the Imam is not reciting it loudly, so it is a must for me to recite. And finally, Shabana's last question, is it permissible for a man to wear a white gold watch? We have to look into what is the white gold. If someone tells me that white gold is actually yellow gold, the gold we know, and then it is chemically sprayed or painted with a color to give it a white look, then this is haram for a man to wear. But if someone tells me, no, white gold is a different mineral, it's a different material altogether. You can call it platinum, you can call it uranium, whatever. It has nothing to do with yellow gold. It's a different mineral altogether. It's a different substance. So can we wear it? And the answer is yes. So you have to look into the reality of this thing. White gold as it is enough, this is not sufficient. If it's yellow, being treated to look white, it's haram for men to wear. If it's not yellow, if it's another substance or another mineral, then it is permissible for them to wear, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. This is all the time we have. Until we meet you next time, I leave you fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance and